The anime begins with our overworked main character Suzuki Ichirou, a 29-year-old game programmer who's heading into work despite it being a Sunday. Being worked like a slave, he tirelessly works on his current projects. Not only that, he keeps on getting tasks pushed onto him, and this results in him spending over 3 days in the office. He sounds like yourself when you're watching animes. With over 30 hours of non-stop work, he has finally reached his limit and as such, decides to take a small nap in his office. However, when he opens his eyes, he finds himself in the middle of nowhere. Confused, he first tries to call someone for help, but of course, that doesn't work out. Not only that, he finds out that he is in the body of a 15-year-old body. Nevertheless, he chalks it all up to be a dream, thinking he must be pretty overworked if he is dreaming about his current projects, War World and FFL. Anyways, he tries separating the system, finding out that it comes complete with all the bugs he is tasked to fix and the new ideas he has purposed. Under the name Sadu, the nick he uses for testing purposes, he figures out that he is currently in the place known as the Valley of Dragons. All of a sudden, he sees an army of elite lizard men in the valley. These monsters begin attacking him. In fear of losing his life, Sadu deploys Meteor Strike, a new feature plot armor he added recently. Nonetheless, the skills take some time to load, and in a panic Sadu ends up using all 3 of them he is provided. Fortunately, the skill does deploy and eventually a giant meteor appears from the sky. With this, he is able to completely annihilate the enemy forces but ends up exhausted himself as well. Suddenly, a lone survivor rises from the huge explosion. Handing Sadu a sword, this lizard man warrior wants to fight him. Scared, Sadu is left no choice and desperately avoids all incoming blows. But he is able to defeat his foe with a measly sword throw, making him surprised. From this, he gets curious and learns that he has leveled up to level 310 because of his massacre of the lizard army. Along with this, he has mastery over his skills now and decides to test them out. But the results are far more powerful than he expected. Moreover, from his slaughter, he has gotten his hands on a lot of money and items. And so, the next day, he heads over to a city called Seiryu. After a long journey filled with acquiring skills, he closes in on his destination. But on the way, sees a wyvern. An army of soldiers is seen fighting off this beast, but they are having some trouble. One of the soldiers, a woman named Xena, is hurled away by the monster, but Sadu jumps up in the air to save her. Soon, this girl wakes up and Sadu makes up a story about how he saw her falling from the sky and saved her. With this, the girl introduces herself as Xena Marientail, a 17-year Souliter of the Seiryu city. Suddenly, her comrades arrive and become skeptical of Sadu. Nevertheless, he manages to convince them otherwise using skills such as lying and fabrication. And so, he is able to get the soldiers to help him arrive at Seiryu City. There, one of Xena's friend, Ayana, helps Sadu get merchant documentation, something Sadu claimed to be, and tells him about a good inn. As such, Sadu heads over, delighted to see just how beautiful the scenery is here. All of a sudden, he is approached by Martha, a girl who is trying to get Sadu to stay at her inn. She is revealed to be the daughter of the Gate Inn's caretaker, the very inn Ayana suggests. Upon his arrival, he sets up his stay for 10 days and immediately asks for something to eat. There, he learns about the fight between the Demon Lord and the hero 60 years ago. But according to Martha's mother, the times are peaceful for now. But because of the star fall previously, people are making rumors about the Demon Lord's resurrection. After his meal, he is accompanied by Martha to the town market to get some items, but as the two stroll around, Sadu happens upon 2 demi-human slaves. Someone is seen picking on this slave children, but Sadu stands up for them, even helping them pick up the all sticks they were carrying. Regardless, Sadu and Martha continue their stroll and eventually return back to the inn. After a small rest, it is now dinner time. Once again, Sadu heads to the inn's restaurant to have a meal, but he ends up loving everything he orders, so much so that he has seconds of everything. Ultimately, he has eaten too much and returns to his room to endure the pain in silence. As he lays there contemplating about the recent events, he finally comes to the realization that this all isn't all just a dream. Regardless, without much info, he cannot do much. As such, he decides to put this matter on hold and decides to venture out on the rooftops at night. The following day, Xena shows up at the Gate Inn, wanting to pay back Sadu with a tour of the city. Seeing her try so hard, Sadu agrees and the duo embark on their date. There, they start eating small snacks while roaming around and accidentally, a boy bumps into Xena. This stains her blouse, but suddenly, a everyday magic user arrives, using her magic to wash and dry the blouse. As an added bonus, Sadu also acquires everyday magic skills and the duo continue on their date. With Xena's help, Sadu also visit the boundary wall of the city. Not only that, they both also visit the Palian Temple, where Xena explains the story of the hero and the Demon Lord. Moreover, the priestess, Orna, also pays them a visit but is quickly forced to leave because of an emergency. With this, the duo decides to make their way over to a mill, which supposedly turns into battle tower when a wyvern attacks. On the way, Sadu also thinks to check his title, seeing that he has gotten title like God Killer because of his meteor strike on the lizard men army. All of a sudden, they pass a huge crowd. Seeing them, the duo stop and look, finding that the head priest of the Zakuan temple is addressing the crowd. His priest announces demi-humans to be the kin of demons. As a result, according to him, punishing these demi-human will bring them righteousness. Selling divine rocks, he encourages the humans in the crowd to attack these devils and be one with God. Nevertheless, seeing this, Xena immediately jumps in to stop the crowd. Taken aback with admiration, Sadu also chimes in and locates the demi-human slave's master, the same slaves he helped previously. In addition, H also locates all the instigators, slowly knocking them out. Eventually, he makes his way to the salve master and presents him to the crowd. Using his swindling skills, he convinces the crowd that this man, Urs, and the head priest are working in with each other to take the common people's money by selling them to seize divine rocks. Suddenly, something emerges from Urs's body. This something is a one-eyed demon. Seeing this, Xena heads out and calls the soldiers for support, whereas Sadu tries to help the slave, who refuses help, not wanting to forsake their master's word. With this, the one-eyed demon opens up a hole in the ground, swallowing and trapping everyone in the area into a maze he has created. Not only that, everyone seems to have been separated from one another. There, Sadu gets up after the fall and ultimately ends up the demi-humans he was trying to protect. There, he names them Lisa, Tama, and Pachai respectively. After helping the slaves treat their wounds, Sadu uses his search map skill and finds out the layout of this dungeon. Consequently, with his new team, begins exploration of this dungeon. As they wander around, Pachai and Tama prove very useful as their heightened sense of smell and hearing help locate monsters. Moreover, Lisa also has some combat skills that enables her to fight and defend the children. Sadu also tries leveling up his allies, telling Lisa, Tama, and Pachai to aid him by throwing stones, making them kill Theseus monsters under his supervision. They also acquire experience and get stronger. As they continue their exploration, they happen upon a colony of cocoons. Not only that, there appear to be live humans inside these spider cocoons. As such, the group helps free them. There, they also happen upon the man which abused Tama and Pachai previously in the streets. Suddenly, the spiders begin attacking. Alone, Sadu is unable to protect everyone, and as such, the other able-bodied warriors also help out. Pachai and Tama also protect their abuser, making him regret the decisions he has made until this far. Consequently, after the battle, the others willingly join Sadu and his party. With this, the group once again gets moving and soon after, encounter a large group of humans fighting slimes. Seeing them struggle, he and his team chimes in to help out their fellows. There, some soldier happen upon a treasure box. Overcome by greed, they open it to check the valuables they can take with them, but from inside, the one-eyed demon from earlier emerges. Why does he look so much similar to my uncle? Seeing him, the fighters immediately try to attack their foe, but none of their attacks prove to be effective. Furthermore, using his evil eye magic, he sends some of the humans into a state of severe confusion. This makes them attack each other, but Sadu manages to dispel this magic. Moreover, in order to not reveal his strength, he disguises himself using items from his inventory and moves into attack. With ease, the one-eyed demon is completely overwhelmed and has to summon his master, the Demon Lord. After his revival, he gives his servant, the one-eyed demon, a special gift, swallowing him whole. After this, he then turns his attention to Sadu, who is disguised with a similar appearance as the hero. As a result, things get heated right from the get-go. The Demon Lord strengthens himself to face his foe and attacks. However, it fails to do any damage. Now, it's Sadu's turn. Using a combination of divine sword he picked up from his lizard men slaughter and his title God Killer, he is able to defeat the Demon Lord, sending everyone back to the surface. There, upon their insistence, Pachai, Tama, and Lisa become Sadu's official slaves with Nidoran's help, who is a slave trader. Moreover, Nidoran also offers several other slaves that he has. Although Sadu isn't interested initially, once he gets a glimpse of the offered slaves, he changes his decision. Sadu makes a contract with Lulu and Erisa, the unsold slaves that Nidoran advertised to him. In conjunction with Pachai, Tama, and Lisa, he brought all of them to the Monzon hotel he's currently staying at. Moreover, he also buys them all some food and clothing. When he arrived at the hotel, he's welcomed by Martha. He at that point told the proprietor that he need to book rooms for them, but he felt unfriendly sensation from individuals there. Erisa at that point utilized a few kind of enchantment to calm those individuals. After that, Sadu told Pachai, Tama, and Lisa to remain at the steady and he and the rest remain at the hotel room. After he changed dress, he found out that Lulu and Arisa is of now exposed behind, prepared to benefit him. Gratefully, he had poker-faced expertise, so he's not gone overboard. He denied their benefit and told them to put something on. Lulu cried, felt soothed since she didn't have to do this kind of work once more. Though Arisa felt baffled, made Mope confront. Within the center of night, Sadhu felt something odd. He found out Arisa as of now rode over him, exposed. She at that point kissed him. Sadhu felt something off base with him. After checking his status window, he found the reason. It's turned out Arisa utilized a few psychic enchantment to form him pulled into her. He quickly embraced Arisa and whispered a range to her. He prohibit her to utilize enchantment or aptitude and discharge any enchantment or expertise that she is of now enacted. He inquired the reason of her action, and she told him that she felt in a door with him to begin with locate. When he denied her benefit, she can't acknowledge that, so she utilized enchantment to form him need her. Arisa told Sadhu around her that she's really a previous Japanese lady that resurrected in Kuboku Kingdom, whereas holding her recollections. She at that point inquired Sadhu in case he's too resurrected like her or summoned as a legend. She told Sadhu that he's the moment Japanese individual that she met since she born in this world. Sadhu inquired in the event that it's Lulu, but clearly not her, as it were her great-grandfather was Japanese. No, nothing, almost the resurrected thing. Sadhu inquired Arisa. She then told the contrast between the two. After know the distinction, Sadhu told her that he's not one or the other of them. Sadhu at that point too inquired almost how she's got to be a slave. He's told her not to reply in the event that she didn't need to. Arisa at that point told him her stories. Within the morning, Xena visits Sadhu in his room as it were to discover out that he's resting alongside two young ladies, one of them lying bare embracing him. She's angry and promptly cleared out the hotel. Sadhu at that point taken after her exterior the motel, attempting to clear the misconception. Utilizing a few of his expertise, he successfully calmed her. Xena inquired about Sadhu's plans for the day, and he responded that he intended to arrange lodging for his new slaves. He explained that they could not continue to stay in the horse stables. As a result, she decides to accompany him, and they both head to the association for odd jobs to find lodging. Natty assists them in finding properties, but Sadhu is dissatisfied with all of the options presented. As a result, they are told to come back. In secret, Natty also tells Xena about a play that is being held, suggesting that it would be the perfect spot for a date, which makes Xena blush. Consequently, the duo heads into a flea market and runs into Sadhu's slaves. Ultimately, the slaves also join in on the play. However, upon seeing it, Sadhu feels that something is weird. After the play, he learns that the story has hastily changed at the demands of the nobles, which is the reason the story seemed off. After the play, Xena and Sadhu are left alone for some time while the slaves go out to buy some meat skewers. There, they run into Xena's knight's friends, who are all battered and bruised. Not only that, the creatures they were fighting, fang ants, have also started to appear in the city. Tama and Pachai manage to kill one. In addition, a swarm of these monsters is fast approaching the gates. This leaves the whole town in a panic, prompting Sadhu to enslave his slaves and join in on the action. Along with Lisa and the soldiers, he holds back the mob of ants while Pachai and Tama protect the inside and the caretakers. However, the battle is quickly brought to an end and Sadhu is then treated by the inn caretaker. Not only that, later that night, the townspeople take him to a brothel to have some fun. Regardless, on his way back, he is jumped by my dad who went to get the milk, but he manages to get my revenge. Upon closer inspection, Satpu finds a man in rags who entrusts the princess to him. Seeing another object covered in rags, he brings both of them back to Natty's workplace. There, Natty's boss, an elf named Yuya, helps to heal the people that Sadhu brought back, including a young elf. Nia, the mythical being saved by Sadhu, is now awake in workers' society. She looks at Sadhu and says lovely before returning to her rest. The red helmet wearer needs urgent therapy due to hacking blood. Natty seeks help from a former priest in a back street. Sadhu accompanies her, worried about her going alone at midnight. In the morning, Sadhu returned to the motel to hear a complaint from Arisa. Why go to brothel when he's got her? Sadhu explained his situation and the people he saved while buying medicine for Lulu last night. Lulu is awake. Sadhu asks how she feels and gives her the purchased medicine. Sadhu goes to the workers' society and asks Natty about the people he saved last night. Nia was tired but unharmed. Natty agreed with supervisor that it's due to delayed mana hardship. Using mana exchange and Timberland enchantment, the chief treated her, improving her condition. Sadhu sees Mia's title, suggesting she's a young elf despite her age being 130. Nia finally met Natty and Sadhu. Natty left Sadhu alone with Mia after making her some food. Sadhu asked a few quick questions, hoping for immediate answers. She's not much for conversation. Nia stopped Sadhu from leaving by dragging his dress. At exterior, Sadhu finds Arisa, Pachai, Tama, Lisa, and Uni playing a new card game. Sadhu tests Pachai and Tama with cards, but they need to improve. Martha arrives and seems annoyed with Uni for playing instead of working. Uni says she's finished with Pachai and Tama's help. While munching on his sandwich at lunch, Sadu shares a tale of the elven princess, and whereat Sadu takes them to visit the princess after lunch. After introducing Arisa, Pachai, and Tama to Mia, he chats with Natty. Natty gave Sadu a vendor cart. Shipper planning to resign soon, offering cart and 2 steeds. Sadu's hesitant as he lacks cart driving experience. Lulu seems to have something to say, encouraged by Sadu's approval. Lulu had driven a horse wagon before. Sadu tells Lulu to instruct her and immediately notifies Natty of his agreement to purchase the cart. Sadu goes camping with his party. They set up a tent, gather wood and stone, and cook. Sadu sees 3 white dabs approaching while resting. They give him fruit blends as thanks beforehand. Sadu bought a cart and took Lulu to teach him driving. Lulu anxiously drives near Sadu. Sadu assures her it's okay to relax with him. Sadu asks Arisa to help with the climate and Lulu. She happily shared her stories. After swapping with Lulu, Sadu quickly mastered driving. While driving, Sadu senses he's being watched. None shown, he wonders what it is. An owl stares at him on a tree branch. Sadu returns to workers' society and is warmly welcomed by Mia and everyone, now that she has recovered. Sadu notices the owl on the roof. Natty said Mize is with the director, who was clearly the red helmet whereat Sadu met him. Mize then shares the tale of Mia's kidnapping by a wizard and imprisonment in a labyrinth. Mia managed to evade but later encountered Mize. Mize took Mia to Saryu City to meet the director. Flying ants in the city were caused by the wizard. The director understands the cause of the seizure but avoids discussing it. A thundering sound was heard as young ladies shouted. Sadu and the supervisor quickly ran to find the source. They're anxious of thunder, including Mia. Mia told Ace that a dragon was struck by lightning. Who's Oz? Sadu wondered. Suddenly, Tama noticed the owl in the room and grew quiet. A shadow rises, revealing a humanoid form. Upon seeing this flamboyant figure, Red Helmet immediately lunges forward to attack. Nevertheless, this figure uses psychic magic, causing his foes to collapse onto the ground. Even Sadu has a tough time enduring this magic. However, Arisa also uses psychic magic to counteract the enemy. This gives Sadu enough time to max out his plot armor skill. This allows him to put up a fight, but the opponent's body is untouchable. The punch he delivers simply phases through. Seeing this, Arisa decides to use her unique skill as a last resort. However, even that fails to do damage, warning Sadu to never allow Arisa to use her unique skill again for her own safety. He then takes possession of Mia and leaves, but not before telling Sadu to come save Mia. Sadu also jumps into the Hope's portal, finding himself in a pitch-black space. Nonetheless, he managed to escape this space by teleporting to my dad's shadowy figure's room. However, the figure, now revealed to be called the Undead King, claims that only those who have overcome the entire tower can be allowed to enter here. As a result, Sadu is teleported outside the dungeon and must overcome each trial. But he has a plan up his sleeve. With the help of a dryad, he manages to skip several floors and hasten his ascent to the final boss room. With this, he has already reached floor 100, where a group of homunculi, along with an iron artifact, are waiting for him. Seeing him arrive, these girls quickly prepare to fight, equipping their armor. But Sadu easily defeats the golem, prompting all the girls to leave except for one, number 7. Sadu knocks her out as well and continues his ascent. Eventually, he reached his destination, once again faced with the rest of the homunculi and a horde of other monsters. This leads to an all-out brawl, and Sadu begins fighting off against the army of monsters. Nevertheless, using his insanely overpowered skills, he is able to defeat the golems and other monsters, leaving only the homunculus standing. After a prolonged fight, Sadu is also able to defeat them. However, as the last one collapses to the ground, she tells Sadu to fulfill her master's wish. This statement leaves him conflicted, but regardless, he moves in to slay the final boss. Before attacking, Sadu inquires about the Undead King's wish. This leads to the Undead King revealing his backstory, how he was killed by the noble family of the woman he loved. Hearing his story, Sadu realizes that the Undead King's story is the same as the one he just saw in the play. The monster's last wish is to be finally reunited with his late wife, something he was unable to do after having the curse of immortality placed on him. Nevertheless, he hands Sadu a divine sword, which he then uses to strike down the undead and finally bring him to peace. With this, he then saves Mia. But a problem arises. After the demise of the monster, the tower begins to crumble. However, Sadu finds that the Undead King never had any intentions of harming Mia, as an escape route was already set up for her. but Sadu cannot abandon the homunculi. As a result, he sends the girls with Mia, who are then all teleported outside the dungeon, whereas he heads to save number 7, who is on a lower floor. After retrieving her, he makes his escape thanks to the dryad from earlier. Although chased by the dungeon decomposing into a tsunami of salt, he is able to outrun this salt avalanche and eventually returns back to his group. In addition, number 7, also known as Nana, joins his group of slaves while the other homunculi promise to join him after delivering their master's wedding ring to his wife's grave. Not only that, he also accepted the job of taking Mia back to her hometown. After returning and making up another story about the undead king, Sadu and his group were exhausted. After saying their goodbyes to all their acquaintances, the group finally departs. As the carriage leaves town, Xena suddenly rushes towards Sadu. She tells him that although she will be unable to follow him right now, in the next spring, she will definitely join his travels. With this, they both head their own ways, leaving them both extremely disheartened. And so, the group is finally on their way. As they travel, they soon take a break, during which Lisa and Lulu cook a meal for everyone. While they rest, Arisa complains that the straw cushions are hurting her. As a result, they all start repairing and improving the cushions. Not only that, Sadu tells Tama and Pachai to go explore the surroundings, and Arisa decides to accompany them. In the meantime, the rest of the group learns how to whistle with leaves from Mia. Suddenly, Arisa returns and asks Sadu to follow her. With this, she takes him to an auspicious-looking place where apparently 3 stone torii have fallen apart. As he saw them, Sadu had a weird memory come up in his head, but he couldn't remember it completely. As such, Arisa and he both leave and return back to their comrades. Soon, they resume their travels, where Sadu finds out that he has a book on magic from the undead king's mementos. Using this, he tries to create a new spell to clean up Tama and Pachai, who regularly get dirty. However, while concentrating, he ends up fondling Nana's breasts. Moreover, they happen upon the ratmen who protected Mia on her travel. After witnessing their capture, Sadu frees them and they promise to meet up tomorrow. Anyway, later that night, Sadu also tries experimenting with his storage. The next day, they reunite with the ratmen. They find solace in the memory of all the comrades who died protecting Mia. Red Helmet, who is also present, gives Sadu a bell signifying the bond between him and the rat race. Soon, the group departs once again, and so, the group reaches a city. Sadu had dinner at a local pub. There, he treated everyone to a drink. Not only that, after his meal, the waitress taken him upstairs to have some fun. Anyway, the next day the group resumes on their travel, happening upon an injured merchant. Seeing him, Sadu gives him a potion to heal his wounds. But Arisa is not happy with his actions. She suggests that Sadu should keep some in reserve just in case, prompting him to study alchemy and potion creation. However, he doesn't have the necessary ingredients and as such, on the next town in their way, he stops to buy some. However, he learns that there was a recent customer who bought all of the potion vials, and as such, she has none left. Not only that, it was the order of the city's ruler, and so the shopkeeper couldn't refuse. There becomes interested in magic scrolls, so he disguises himself and goes out late at night to acquire them. Not only that, he also decides to venture into the forest where he is suddenly attacked by a sorceress student. Nonetheless, this student is no match for Sadu and thus refers to her as Master, the ruler of this illusory forest. Nevertheless, he returns back to the lodging where Arisa is angrily waiting for him outside. The next day, Sadu meets with a local pottery maker who agrees to teach him how to make potion vials. And so, the following morning, he heads to this man's house. On his way, however, he finds Ani, the witch's student, being chased by some men. Learning this, he headed over to help. Ani is delivering 300 potions to the city lord as per their agreement with the forest. However, due to the commotion, Ani ends up crashing her cart and destroying most of the potions. As a result, he accompanies me to the city lord's office and explains the situation. Nevertheless, the lord accepts no excuses, granting them until sundown to get the missing 180 portions. It appears that this lord wants to destroy the agreement between the city and the forest in order to seize control of the forest and construct a new city in its place. Although difficult, Sadu agrees to this and they all quickly get to preparing. However, there is a problem, the shortage of potion vials. As a result, Sadu approaches the guy he met yesterday there and requests his help in acquiring 180 additional villas. However, even Potter claims that this task is impossible. Regardless, seeing just how serious everyone is, he agrees to help out. And so, Lisa, Pachai, Tama, Nana, Lulu, and Sadu quickly get to craft the vials. There, Sadu is able to quickly grasp the concept and make vials one after the other. But that is not sufficient. According to the potter, it takes 5 days for these clay pots to dry enough to be put into the kiln. but he doesn't have this kind of time. Therefore, he uses his expertise in magic to create a new spell called Clay Dry, enabling them to put the pots immediately into the kiln. However, the city lord's minister shows up. Using his tools, he destroys the kiln and the vials inside, mocking Sadhu for attempting devilry that has now backfired. Nonetheless, Sadhu had already prepared for this and used his storage to put away the vials in the nick of time. Thanks to this, Ini is able to make the delivery on time. Nevertheless, the Lord refuses to accept the delivery note and is waiting for sundown to void the pact. Sadhu has also prepared for this. Using the witch, he informed Count Kuhano of these evil deeds. As a result, he shows up along with the witch and the delivery is accepted. And so, the group departs on their journey once again. One day, Nana is having trouble and, as such, visits her sister in the carriage. There, she undresses seductively as her master watches her, but Arisa chimes in to stop her. With this, Nana explains that her magic calibration is ruined and Sadhu needs to fix it. Consequently, Sadhu places his hands on Nana's bare back, sending magic to her core. This makes Nana moan seductively. On the other hand, Xena receives her first letter from Sadhu. That concludes the anime recap for now. Let me know your thoughts and I'm out.